Yo, what up? My name is Don, and today I want to talk about one of the biggest issues that I think is plaguing Overwatch 2. And no, I'm not talking about 5v5, even though 6v6 was better. All right, so what I'm talking about is the social experience in Overwatch 2. I think it's absolutely atrocious, and I kind of want to get into the nitty gritty of why I think it's so bad. And, you know, my personal experience is like I get muted frequently in Overwatch 2, so you would immediately think, well, stop being an absolute dweeb in chat. But let me just paint the picture first, and then I would love to know what other people think, other Overwatch players, what their experience is, and if people agree with me in the way that I'm going to, portray my experience playing Overwatch since Overwatch 1 came out, and now jumping back into it for the last two seasons. The season we just had with the Mercy skin. I'm not sure which season number it is, and I'm obviously talking about the Mercy Mythic skin that we just got, and now the season with the Mythic Ash skin that I am grinding for. So anyways, I recently got muted to the point where I received a silence, like you can't talk in game. Now, um first and foremost, I think that like I play a lot of quick play. I don't personally really care about competitive in Overwatch so much. I'm not really grinding for ranks in that game, and I think that's more so because I have a problem with like 5v5, and it's just not. I feel like it's just not really worth it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, 6v6 was so much more fun, but that's another conversation for another time. With the way that the social you know, contracts work in Blizzard games. Obviously, they're there to, kind of like entice people to just be nice, like just be chill, be cool with people. And, I've played many Blizzard titles over the years, World of Warcraft, like all of the Diablos, like all the StarCrafts, Warcrafts, et cetera, et cetera. And it's never been a problem in other games, even when it comes to the idea. And I'm going to try to not swear in this video because I do wanna monetize this video, so I don't wanna have issues with that. But, when it comes to talking shite to, other people, like, it's never been an issue. I think that there to a certain point, and I'm gonna make that very clear, banter is healthy, and I think that for a more competitive game like a first-person shooter, or, 5v5 arena-based game, or if you wanna call it that, like Overwatch, I think that it's healthy to have a certain level of banter that allows people to speak freely enough without fear of being reprimanded for, in my opinion, some of the most egregious of reasonings. And it often, again, this is only my opinion, it often comes from, you know, small disagreements between you and other players in game. And you know, m- most of the time I feel like not even just specifically to me getting silence, but most of the time I've even seen it happen where a person is arguing with another person, and say party B just happens to be in a group with two other people, and they blanket report him. They blanket report the other person, him, her, whoever. They blanket report the person that they're arguing with, and it counts towards the threshold of reports that it takes for Blizzard then to you know uh, action on that report, and it could be an account silence, or they do say in all of their policies and guidelines here that it can the more that you get actioned on, like your account gets actioned on, it can escalate to more than just a silence, all the way up to account suspensions. Now, I've never received an account suspension. It's only ever been me getting mic muted or mic silenced in Overwatch, and it's only a problem that ever really happens in Overwatch. Now, I, you know, I have never appealed any of these mutes because I just find that they're annoying. I always try to think of what did I say, what did I do to earn to justify this mute, right? And the recent one really got on my nerves because, I believe it was most of yesterday that I was muted. And the day before, I can't remember saying anything at all to anybody that would have warranted somebody being mad at me. I didn't argue with anybody. Nobody argued with me. So, it leads me to believe that somebody reported me just because they didn't like what I said. Like, I feel like there's a big difference between saying to somebody, F you, you're garbage, which, by the way, I still don't think should earn any sort of actionable report because that's I think that things that are a little bit more serious should be things that should be actionable on. So, for example, call me archaically old. You old man. I've played Counter Strike for over 20 years, and in Counter Strike, basically, I mean, I've heard people say the craziest things, and it's like anything goes in that game, right? Now, at the same time, I feel like I've been in far more situations where the community itself upholds this social standard where if somebody is being uh, an asshole outside of competitive, shite talk, then, they get called out by somebody. Or, if somebody's really being an a hole and being, say, racist, they absolutely get called out. Like, you know, And I, for example, don't stand by it and just let these things be said. If somebody's being this way in game, I'm the first person to speak up and be like, when it comes to being a troll online, like if you're going to be essentially a dickhead, like I'm going to match your energy, like, and probably just make it my entire mission to destroy you if you're on the other team in game because I just that stuff gets me fired up. Like in a I want to squash that energy. Like get that out of here, right? So my recent mute to my account made me a little bit annoyed because I really, although I don't allude to being perfect, and I definitely get frustrated at people, like many people do in I say a competitive, even though I'm not playing the competitive game mode because it is still an FPS. It's more competitive than Diablo, right? It's more competitive than World of Warcraft outside of maybe the PvP, arenas or whatever. Um, the game itself is just a more competitive game, itself. So, I think, if we won a game, I've said like, I think like I would drop something sarcastic, but something that just like kind of boasts our bravado to be like, we're just better. Like, I really don't think that something like that should be, you know, enough per se to make Blizzard go, yep, mute this guy. Like you can see in the policies, it says I have one up here in front of me. Communication. When participating in communication of any kind, chat, voice, group finder, you are responsible for how you express yourself. You may not use language that could be offensive or vulgar to others. But here's the thing, like you're dealing with humans, and I find that you know, this shouldn't include things like if somebody says "f you," I mean, okay, you know, and yeah, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, um, is it just that I'm asking people to have thicker skin? Like, and this is why I wanted to have a conversation about it. This is why I wanted to bring it to my YouTube, videos because I wanted to get other people's perspective and opinions on what they think about this issue. Ultimately, the effect is that I find that over, years of playing Overwatch 1 or 2, um, 1 was not like this, and when I say not like this, Overwatch 1 was more the norm where when you got in game with people, people would say hi, people would be communicating. Doesn't matter if it's quick play or competitive, people were just human. Like, people were interacting like, you would want to do, and now what annoys me most about this, and I think was the key factor in making me make this video, was when I wrote my initial appeal that I have in front of me right here on screen, the response that I got from Blizzard was and I'm not sure if I should read my appeal first. Maybe I should read my appeal first. Um, I'll read it word for word. I have been mic muted again, and I'm not sure if it's an automated AI system or human looking at cases, but recently I've been muted several times, and I think it's absolutely unfair how people can just blanket report for the most egregious of reasons, and all of a sudden I cannot talk, even in competitive where people should be open to constructive criticism. I currently am mic muted, and I, in confidence, do not believe I said anything in the last period, as in period that I could talk, that I could speak. I put in brackets yesterday for most of the day. That would warrant a mute. I'm tired of this incessant unfair treatment, and this is the exact reason why the norm in this game is to not talk at all. I would like to be explained the actual legitimate reason that justifies any of the recent mutings, and if not warranted, I believe every single false report, and I do believe this, should be reverse actionable where the reporter cannot report for example, 3 days, then a week, then 2 weeks, increasing every time, just like your atrocious silent system. I was a little bit annoyed. This isn't an opinion to argue over. If I'm wrong, show me why and I fully accept it. If I'm right, unmute me and go after the people that ruin the entire social experience to the point that there isn't one. I'm tired of it. Yes, my mic works properly. And I truly do believe that, whether, I wrote it kind of on tilt or not. Um, there is no social experience in Overwatch, and that is a large part of the problem. There's no social experience. Here's the thing that really tilted me. It was their response. Generally, when you get a response from Blizzard support, it has a game master's name attached to it, such as one of my other tickets that I had recently for, I think it was Diablo. I can't remember, but it wasn't Overwatch. Anyways, oh, sorry, no, it was Overwatch. It was Overwatch. A bug in Overwatch because it's such a fantastically coded game. Anyways, uh, this response, it just says regards game master team. It's just from a general, it's not from anybody specific. Greetings. This action has been taken in accordance with our terms of use and our in-game policies. Gives you a link, which all players acknowledge and agree to prior to playing. It's a generic answer, right? It goes on to say these policies and conditions allow us to maintain a fun and safe game environment for all our players. That's what that's what really pissed me off. And instead of me going on a rant now, why it pissed me off, I'll just read my response. Specifically this part. I won't read the whole thing. I mean, I already said part of it, which is I don't need to be imperfect, but, and it goes on to say, but I'm confidently sure that I don't deserve more than half the mutes I receive. You know, um, why is it to my recollection over the past countless years playing every single Blizzard title, I haven't received a mute, but in this game, it's like it seems like a handful, like a week. It's egregious, and that's my entire appeal. Like, so here's the part I want to focus in on. I truly believe, specifically, creating a manufactured social environment that only you deem to be fun when apparently you're not experiencing. Well, it seems that they're not experiencing the social environment in their own game because I don't know how you could be so daft and oblivious to how the social climate really is in the game. But it says, I say that only you deem to be fun when apparently you're not experiencing it is beyond logic. It is not fun to be in a game wherein 90% of all games, competitive or not, up to a certain rank, and I believe that certain breakpoint is maybe like platinum or diamond. People won't talk in competitive. You know, uh, quick play players want to say go play competitive if you want to, be that kind of intense about it or whatever. Or it's not even that intense about it. Like I'm like screaming at people over the mic. It's just that like sometimes it's like um, I understand quick play, I play heroes that I suck at in quick play. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I think I'm not the only one who might like for example, one game, I think it was this past week, somebody said in game, I think they were trying Genji or something like that. Could have been another hero, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna pick on Genji. And they said, I'm trying Genji, I'm new at this hero, I might suck. Cool, man. Suck it up. Suck it up all game. Do your thing. I just really like, I really, really, really like one, the interaction that you don't get in Overwatch. It was like, oh my God, somebody spoke. Two, just the honesty and the upfrontness about it, and I'm never going to be mad at somebody for not being like good at the game, to get mad at somebody for not having skill is like silly. What are they gonna? It's like those old, those warnings from like '90s VHS tapes or DVDs or whatever, 2000, early 2000 DVDs. You wouldn't download it. You wouldn't steal it. This. It's like they can't download skill. You wouldn't download skill. If anybody remembers those commercials, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But getting mad at somebody about skill is not really what it's about. It's just being frustrated at how in Overwatch the normal experience is that people have expectations of how they think the game should go, and they're afraid to communicate because when you do communicate and say anything that's not the most sprinkled in positivity, thing ever, it's they take offense to it, and all of a sudden you get another report on your account, which obviously you can't tell until you're silenced, and then you're just like, I can't talk to anybody. I just don't understand. So what really tilted me is the fact that Blizzard wants to say, these policies and conditions allow us to maintain a fun and safe game environment. Okay, let's just X-nay the safe part for a second. What part of this environment is fun? It's not fun. It's not fun, right? So I feel like when, just like if a parent sheltered a kid too much, the kid can't have any fun. I feel like Blizzard, being the parent here in this situation, are sheltering their players a little bit too much. And I'm not down with any sort of physical. And I am talking about some of the things that men say to women. I am not down with any physical threats at all, at all. Death threats, physical threats. No, that's like, forget like a day ban. Like, why doesn't that start at like a month ban? You know what I'm saying? Like, why aren't the lines just so clear? And, anything that is just regular banter slash shite talk should just go, in my opinion. I know it's a contentious opinion, but that's really why I wanted to open up a conversation about it and see what you guys thought. Um, so continuing on with what I was saying, just to finish up here in my last part of my appeal, I said, so, up to a certain rank, right? We ended off with uh, Platter Diamond, then people are kind of starting to talk. So I said, those are all non talkative games because that's the norm in Overwatch. That's the fun you're referring to. It's not fun to play a hollow and empty of human interaction game that apparently the Overwatch team thinks is fun socially. I'm not here to argue how I feel about the system. I'm here to ask how I broke these rules or policies and why my account is muted. The answer I'm currently given leads me to believe that regardless of reason, the reporters are to be believed, which also opens up the idea that the Overwatch team is actioning false abusive reports. You know, I said, all in all, I fully understand the social contracts of various Blizzard games. Never had any problems over the years. Please just show me where I broke the rules, or please earnestly review my appeal to be unsilenced. They haven't responded, but I have played since then, and I am unsilenced at this point. So I'm not sure if it was just a 6 hour silence or 8 hour silence. I don't know what block. I didn't time it basically. Um, but I think that I say more than any other game that I've ever played, whether it's a Blizzard title or not, Overwatch really does believe that they're maintaining a fun environment socially for players. And I, my jaw just drops. I'm at a loss for words for how daft could you be, right? How like the horse blinders are real, but the horse blinders aren't blocking things from the sides. They're straight like this. Like I don't understand what Blizzard is saying. I wish that the policies around this and the I wish they took more care in crafting these policies, to be completely honest, in my opinion. And people who abuse this report system with, you know, if somebody said like to me, at the end of a game, if somebody says like, say "f you, Venture," whatever, 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 like whatever. Uh, In my opinion, who cares? Who cares about stuff like that? So I'm not, you know, maybe I'm just an old school player, maybe not, but overall, I think that the way that they're doing it right now, I mean, we can see the result of it, which is that the game is devoid of social interaction for, you know, the most part. And it's not even like 50% of games, it's like 90+% of games. So, I mean, I would love you guys to chime in. You Overwatch players, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think is a solution to this, right? Do you agree with what I'm saying that the Overwatch team specifically needs to, I guess, loosen up on regular shite talk that, you know, I guess adults would hear. And I understand not every player is an adult, but like, do you think they need to redraw the lines, or do you think they just need to pay closer attention to the reports that are coming in just to make sure that, you know, this system isn't as, in my opinion, abused as it is. What do you guys think? That's my rant for tonight. Probably gonna go play some Overwatch after this and not talking game because you know y- whether I say something positive, whether I'm asking a player to back me up in a fight, whether I'm just having a fun like a pumped up moment where I'm like over mic whatever. I'm afraid to even do those things now because you really never know what is going to tilt somebody. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I really feel like you have to walk on eggshells playing this game. That's it for me. If you guys want more content like this, please let me know with a like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.